Welcome to another live stream talking the Clone Wars. As you might know, it is the second half of Season 3. So, yeah. All right. Let's see who we've got in the chat. Oh. Obsidian Kite. Good morning, the Walrus Jedi. Good morning to you. Thank you for showing up on the stream. All right. Well, let's just get right into the episode discussion. All right. So the first episode we will discuss today is the 12th episode of Season 3. It is titled Night Sisters, directed by Giancarlo Volpe and written by Katie Lucas. And in it, Darth Sidious orders Dooku to kill Ventress, which he does. But she survives and flees to Dathomir. She goes to Serenno to kill Dooku, but fails. And Dooku wants another apprentice to basically protect himself from further attack. And there is a lightsaber duel of Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Ventress in this. So there's that. And one thing that I found a little odd in this video, or this episode rather, is it feels like when Ventress goes to attack Dooku at his palace or whatever on Serenno, there is like no security. It's very easy for them to get in. So there's like no guards, no security alarms or any of that stuff. So I just found that a little convenient. And then the next episode, Monster, is directed by Kyle Dunlevy and written by Katie Lucas. Ventress goes to get a Zabrak for Dooku as a new apprentice, but the Zabrak will really serve as her tool to help her with her vengeance against Dooku. So she selects Savage Opress, and the witches use their magic to increase his size and strength, and then they take him to Dooku, and Dooku has him go on a mission to go kill some Jedi on Deveron. So, yeah, he does that. And then the next episode, Witches of the Mist, is directed by Giancarlo Volpe, written by Katie Lucas, and Obi-Wan and Anakin investigate all that attack that Savage did, which leads them to Dathomir and Toydaria. And Savage is sent to Toydaria to get the king, as Dooku wants him alive, but he kills him. And yeah, Savage and Ventress try to kill Dooku, but that doesn't work out too well, and Savage escapes. Ventress survives her little ordeal and flees. And yeah. At the end of the episode, we see Savage. She goes back to Dathomir to Mother Talzin, and she basically tells him to go find Maul, Darth Maul. So, and yeah, that's where the episode ends. And there's a few lightsaber duels in this. You have Ventress and Savage versus Dooku. And that one kind of goes for like a free-for-all as like Savage gets sick of all that stuff. So he tries to basically kill them both and escape. And then you have Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Savage. And then you have a duel later on where it's just Ventress and Dooku. So yeah, like a decent amount of lightsaber action in that episode. So that's kind of neat. And then for the next episode, episode 15, Overlords, which was directed by Stuart Lee and written by Christian Taylor. The usual suspects, Obi-Wan, Anakin, Ahsoka, are sent to investigate an anomaly. They find Mortis, which houses the Ones, the son, the daughter, and the father, and they want to know if Anakin is the chosen one. And yeah, basically all our main characters, they have strange visions. So Obi-Wan sees Qui-Gon, Anakin sees Shmi, which is actually the son in disguise, and then Ahsoka sees an older version of herself. So kind of an interesting thing. And then one thing that I noticed watching this episode is you look at what Mortis looks like. It's it's two pyramids put together at their bases. It actually looks like a Thoyor from like the Dawn of the Jedi. I'm just curious if that's just a coincidence or if there's some tie there. I don't think so, as the people working on Clone Wars weren't exactly the biggest in terms of like paying attention to all the expanded universe lore and stuff like that, but maybe. And then for the next episode, Altar of Mortis, directed by Brian Callen O'Connell and written by Christian Taylor. The son kidnaps Ahsoka and corrupts her, and then the son attacks the father and has Ahsoka and Anakin fight. Obi-Wan and the daughter get the Dagger of Mortis, which is the thing that can kill the ones. The son stabs the daughter as she jumped in front of his real target, the father, and he flees. The daughter gives her remaining life force to save Ahsoka, as once the son was done with her, she's dead. So yes, the daughter basically, her last act is to give her life force for Ahsoka. So that's great. Yeah, so there is a lightsaber duel with Anakin and Ahsoka in it. So yeah, neat, I guess. And then you have Ghosts of Mortis, directed by Stuart Lee and written by Christian Taylor. Anakin witnesses what he'll become and joins the son. They try to use the Jedi shuttle to leave, but it won't start. And the son leaves the father to... he leaves to go basically get things in line so they can leave. The father arrives and wipes Anakin's memory, returning him to the light, and then they kill the son via the father, stabbing himself, and then they basically trick him, and Anakin stabs the son with his lightsaber, which, I don't know, what was the point of the Mortis dagger if the lightsaber works? Maybe once the father stabbed himself with the Mortis dagger, then you could use regular weapons on the son. I don't know. Doesn't make sense. But, yeah. These 3 episodes, they're very interesting, but I feel like there's a lot of, like, what is going on here? Like, and also, what's the point? Because I feel like nothing is really accomplished there. I mean, all 3 of them end up dying, so it's, I don't know, it's just, it's something that's like, that's an interesting decision to do with those characters. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see what other people think of these 3 episodes, because they're interesting. There's very interesting things in these episodes, but yeah, it's like Anakin basically sees his future and it's like, oh, that's interesting, but then it gets wiped out, and yeah, so it's like, what do these 3 episodes serve besides just being 3 episodes of a TV show? Like, I mean, realistically, I feel like you could skip these 3 episodes and you don't miss out on anything, because it really isn't that important for much. So yeah. And then the next arc, the next 3 episodes, is the Citadel arc. So the first one is The Citadel, directed by Kyle Dinlevy, written by Matt Michnovetz. Obi-Wan and Anakin go to the Citadel to rescue Master Evan Peel, and they rescue him, but things get complicated and they have to split up to try and escape. So yeah, it's always nice to see different Jedi characters. Like you don't get a lot of Evan Peel in the movies. He's only in the background here and there, but it's cool to see more Jedi Masters focused on, so that's nice. And then you have Counterattack, which is directed by Brian Callen O'Connell and written by Matt Michnovetz. Further complications arise, and Obi-Wan's party is captured, but they are rescued by R2. Their shuttle is destroyed, along with Echo, so they call Coruscant for help, and Coruscant does send help, but obviously it's going to take some time. And then the next episode, Citadel Rescue, directed by Stuart Lee, written by Matt Michnovetz. The Citadel's group slowly gets whittled down as they wait for Plo Koon to arrive. Evan Peel is fatally wounded and gives his information to Ahsoka, they are rescued, and the info is given to the Jedi and stuff like that. So and the information is basically a like trade route, not trade, like a hyperspace route that goes through the heart of both the Republic and the Separatists. So basically, it's very important to whoever has that information. So yeah, not a bad 3 episodes. It's enjoyable. My only thing with this episode is that the Citadel is this hardcore prison that's meant to hold Jedi. So yeah, and I don't feel like these episodes do a very good job of showing how lethal the prison is. Because they have tons of clones here, which a bunch of these other clones that aren't like Rex and Cody and like Fives and Echo. They're there purely to die. So they're basically the equivalent of red shirts from Star Trek, but yeah, so kind of weird. And yes, Echo does die, so there's like actually a somewhat major character dies, and Evan Peel dies. So I mean, yeah, like it is lethal, but I don't feel like we see. Yeah, like it's like, yeah, I don't know. And this is not a mission that Ahsoka should go on. Now, Anakin originally, he basically forbade her to go, but Ahsoka's like, well, I'm gonna do it anyways. So she basically just went on, because how they snuck into the base is they froze themselves into carbonite and to get past the life scanners, and that's how they managed to do it. So obviously Ahsoka just had herself frozen after, and then everyone loaded the shuttle with the carbon freeze slabs. So yeah, and then once she's there, they're not going to say, oh, you got to go back. It's like, well, she can't, she's there now. So but yeah, this isn't a mission that you take Padawans to. This is, yeah, and I feel like the strike team really should just be Jedi. I don't think we need all these clones. It's like, to me, it would have made more sense to send like a small like strike team of Jedi, like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 Jedi, no clones. It's like, this prison is for Jedi. You're gonna want to send. All right, let's see. And then the next 2 episodes, the last 2 of the season 3, you have Padawan Lost, which is directed by Dave Filoni and written by Bonnie Mark. Whilst at the Battle of Felucia, Ahsoka is taken by Trandoshans to be hunted for sport. She meets 3 Jedi younglings there and they try to survive. And one of the younglings dies while encountering the Trandoshan hunters. So, and then the next episode, Wookiee Hunt, directed by Dave Filoni and written by Bonnie Mark. The Trandoshans drop off a Wookiee prisoner, and it's actually Chewbacca. The Jedi and Chewie build a transmitter to signal Kashyyyk, as it's not far from where they are, for rescue. Then they go attack the Trandoshan ship. More Wookiees arrive, and they beat the Trandoshans, and so the Padawans get saved, and it's these 2 episodes I actually really like. They're fun. So it's cool to see Chewbacca. That didn't bug me. That it's like, oh, they put Chewbacca, like one of the Wookiees that everyone knows. Like they put him in here. It's like, it's okay. It probably would have made more sense, really, that it's some other Wookiee, but whatever. I guess, yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but yeah, it's still a fun episode that I really enjoyed. So, yeah. Well, that's the episode. So yeah, let's see what chat has to say about these episodes of the Clone Wars. Were there any that you really liked or didn't like, or any of that stuff. Yeah, I will say that I think the second half is stronger than the first half of season one. Even with my problems with some of the episodes, I will say that it feels like, yeah, and I think part of that is that we're starting to get now arcs. So we're not having a bunch of single episode stories. They're 2 episode stories, 3 episode story, 4 episode story. So we can actually tell a decent story that we can go in depth with. We're not just like, oh, we have to resolve every little detail in one episode. So that's nice. I like that. Yeah, and it's pretty nice because that structure kind of continues into season 4, where we start getting less single episodes and they're more arcs, which I think are nice. So yeah, but I would say I think my favorite of these 11, well, it's obvious, it's the Citadel stuff and the Ahsoka getting kidnapped by Trandoshans. That's the best stuff. I mean, Mortis is interesting, but it's kind of like lots of questions. That arc leaves you with tons of questions and that stuff. So I don't know. Is that good? It's like, well, because I feel like they're kind of important because they're essentially gods in Star Wars, which you don't get very often. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it kind of leaves you wanting more. You want to learn more about these characters. Are there more of them out there in the galaxy somewhere? Who knows? So that is interesting. And yeah, the Ventress stuff. I mean, they finally started to do something a little bit more interesting with Ventress, rather than just basically be the leader of the droids for an episode, and then at the end of the episode she basically escapes and shakes her fist at the heroes and says, "I'll get you next time." Kind of bog standard cartoon villain stuff. So yeah, let's do something kind of interesting with her, I guess. But yeah, so we get to see Dathomir, but yeah, and it's different than from Courtship of Princess Leia. Yeah, and one thing that kind of confuses me is it makes it seem like the witches are female Zabrix, and yeah, I don't know, that's always confusing. Is but they're not female Zabrix. Are they human? Are they something? I don't know. It's kind of confusing. It's a connection that I don't know. It's confusing. As we do see female Zabrix. As the one bounty hunter, Sugi, she's a female Zabrix, so yeah, I don't know. It's always something that kind of confused me, but yeah. Well, yeah, all right. That's pretty much all I have to say about these episodes, I think. A decent batch. I look forward to season 4. And yeah, it's fun, Well, thanks to everyone who watched the stream. There wasn't a ton of people. That's okay. And yeah, thank you to Obsidian Kite. Oh, he's commented. I also feel like Iridonians in general aren't explored much. Yeah, that whole Zabrix stuff I feel like is confusing and needs more exploration because. Yeah, because you basically have 2 kinds of Zabrix. You've got, the Darth Maul kind, so the tattooed version, and then you've got, well, probably what would be considered a normal Zabrix in Eth Koth or Agen Kular. Basically, people with horns and some. I don't know if they're tattoos. Those kind of things on their face. I don't know if they're tattoos or that's part of their species. That's just basically part of their. It would be kind of like maybe freckles or birthmarks or something like that. I don't know. I think they're tattoos, but yeah. So yeah, that is something that could use some exploration. That's fair. So yeah. Yeah, because I think it's not exactly clear how that works, So yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks to everyone who watched. Unless Obsidian Kite has anything else to say, I'll give him a minute to comment in case he has anything else to say. But yeah, if not, then yeah, we'll end the stream there. But yeah, it's an interesting little. Yeah, so season 4. I mean, some good stuff in there. Umbara, the Mon Calamari stuff. You do get Darth Maul, so that'll be an interesting thing to talk about when we get there. See like, was it good that they brought him back? I don't know. We'll see. All right. Oh, I never got the idea that Asajj Ventress, originally Ratataki, was born as a Dathomirian when nothing is set in stone. True. I don't know. Yeah. So, yeah, because Ratataki, they're basically just white-skinned humanoids, right? That's what a Ratataki is. So, is that what the Night Sisters are, basically? Are they all supposed to be that? Or I don't know. It's kind of confusing. Or are they Dathomirians? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Well, I guess they could be considered Dathomirian because they're born on Dathomir, so I mean theoretically you could just say that makes you Dathomirian, but yeah. So it's very confusing and yeah. But not yeah, I don't know. I mean they could have delved more into Asajj Ventress's past, because in this we see a little bit. Oh, she got taken and was a slave for a while. Then she got freed and found by a Jedi, so she became the Jedi's apprentice. And then her master died, and that's when she kind of fell to the dark side, and found Dooku and all that stuff. So it's like you really could have done an arc kind of exploring Ventress's past, which I actually think that would have been an interesting arc of the Clone Wars. But they don't really do a whole lot of the timeline is very much during the Clone Wars. They don't do like any that's like way before or way after any of that stuff. But I mean, why not? Well, and maybe you don't have to do an arc, but definitely an episode could have been very interesting. So yeah. Now Ventress's story might have been explored in a comic somewhere, but well, not everyone reads comics, and a TV show, we get to see we get to see that on screen, so we could see that play out, which would be cool. So yeah, again, like I really wish that with this TV show they would have adapted some of those books and comics and things like that, especially when there's like overlap and all that stuff, instead of contradicting and making different things. It's like it would be cool to see some of these things that are only in a book or on a comic, in a TV show. I think that'd be really cool. So yeah. All right, well, anything else from the chat before I end the stream? So yeah, I mean, not a bad little batch of episodes. So yeah, all right. Well, let's see. Understandable. And one last thing for Khalifa. I wish she had survived alongside Jinx and Omer, who is a Syrian, as I can see Ki-Adi-Mundi train with. Ah, yeah. Sure. They probably just had someone die, to have some stakes or whatever, but it's like, well, you could have tweaked that. I don't know. I mean, considering that she's been there the longest out of the younglings, she's probably the one that has the most amount of experience and that. So yeah, and the one that, so she's the one that died, maybe isn't the most, makes the most amount of sense. So, but yeah, it would be kind of cool to have Omer and Ki-Adi-Mundi interact, and maybe a little bit of training or whatever. That'd be kind of interesting. Yeah, but it would be kind of nice to be like, oh, okay, what happened to those those two younglings? Did they continue on their training, or did they get kicked out of the Jedi Order, or what? Like, yeah, would be curious to know. But yeah. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who watched the stream, and thank you to Obsidian Kite for commenting. Really appreciate that. So yeah. Well, yeah, I'll keep doing these for the next seasons of Clone Wars. The next live stream though won't be a Clone Wars stream. It'll be more of a few things that I want to talk about the future of the channel and stuff like that. So yeah, but then the next stream will be season 4. Heck, if we go by the comic logic, Ki-Adi-Mundi had trained Anakin before, so anything can happen. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and see you next time.